Hello, this is Johnny Phillips with Junior Achievement of New Jersey, where we prepare students to succeed in the global economy.
Hi, my name is Matthew Milan. I'm a financial solutions advisor with Bank of America and Merrill.
Matt, thank you for taking the time to sit with me and share some information for our students today. To start, would you mind describing your job story, meaning any jobs you've had in the past and how that led up to the career you're in now?
Sure. My first job was as a cashier for a local grocery store. I started while I was in high school when I was 16 years old, and I learned just from that job having dedication, working with a team was something that I liked a lot. Right around the time I took on a second job, kind of managing a front end of a local pizzeria restaurant. Got some, you could say, a little bit of a management experience there. And I knew that I wanted to work with people and also to serve people. So those two jobs to start just kind of gave me a good foundation. It's where I probably developed my work ethic working, Saturday nights and Friday nights and, all during the week outside of going to high school and stuff at that time and then early on in college. And then right when I finished high school, I thought a lot about, what I learned over those few years. Some of those things could be, like I had mentioned, just, working with people and working with, a team to dedicate myself. So going forward, I thought about a lot about my interests, what they were. So I always had interest in the financial markets. Math class maybe wasn't my favorite subject
Yeah.
growing up, but I definitely liked working and following the markets. So I thought about that a lot and wanted to figure out where I saw my career. And right after, working, for about 4 or 5 years with the grocery store and getting promoted through there, I decided to pursue an opportunity at the bank. So I started with Bank of America my first year in college, and I started from the ground up. I started as a part-time teller, just wanted to kind of get my feet wet. Really was a young kid. I was about 20 years old at the time, and
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect, but I knew I wanted to work in financials. I knew that this is where I thought I could build a successful career. So I'll give you a little bit of a background there. I banked with Bank of America in high school. That's where I set up my first bank account. And I always loved the brand. And I decided, hey, if I'm going to work for a financial company, why wouldn't it be that one? So I applied for the job as a part-time teller, and my first interview, not having any business experience whatsoever, I walked into that interview in a shirt and tie. Shirt was somewhat wrinkled. I learned, you got to use that ironing board more frequently or get your stuff to the cleaner
Yeah.
first interview. But what came across in the interview was that I was a successful, I guess, communicator, and people really, I don't know, the person who had interviewed me said, I came across as someone that would communicate well with clients and teammates. So I decided, she gave me a week or so, and she decided not only that, aside from how I came across in the interview, but I was young in the industry at the time, still in college and whatnot. So I'd listed things on my resume, like I was the captain of the baseball team for 3 years, and she said that stood out. There's leadership qualities there. I know that
Hmm.
may not mean something in business right now, but it shows that you took on a leadership role early on. So going through that, I was a teller for about a year and a half, and then I started working with clients more so to, not just handling money or identifying opportunities that may arise during a conversation as a teller. But my manager at the time thought, hey, you're really good at speaking with clients. What do you say, looking at the next role? So the next role was more of like a hybrid strategy, well, I shouldn't say strategy, a hybrid role, where you still, I'm sorry, were you saying something?
No, me, I'm still going.
Yep. Okay. So I decided, or she had offered me the opportunity to kind of go further along in my career there, where I would have some responsibilities sitting with clients and, servicing and, finding potential opportunities to impact their financial lives for the better. So I started to learn on that side, and that's where I kind of really realized, hey, this is something that I really enjoy. Just getting to know people, having conversations, and then, educating them in a way that, their future would be in better hands by what they learned today. So I was still in college at that time, working basically during the day, and then at night finishing my bachelor's. And then from there, when I finished, I knew I wanted to just work primarily on the sales side with the bank and eliminating working as a teller, because I just thought I was better at the other job, and I thought that's where I saw my career going.
Yeah.
So then from there, I became a full-time, what Bank of America would call the job now as a relationship manager, where you're the main salesperson in the financial center. You're looking to find opportunities, obviously, to another level to better, the financial lives of your clients. So I had worked in that role for a few years, and then I decided, I was already done with school, that, hey, this is the time that I want to try to focus on getting experience on the investment side. But what comes with that is getting licensed. So there wasn't an opportunity with the bank at that time. So I decided to leave for a handful of years in order to pursue what I really wanted to do, which is working with clients and working in focusing on the markets on an everyday basis. So not to go too much into the weeds, but I had not a handful, but a few different types of jobs. One as a financial advisor, similar, has some similarities as to what I'm doing now. And then also I worked in support roles with financial advisors that have been in the business for 20, 30 years, so I can really learn from them and mold how I wanted to work with clients when I, again, had the opportunity to get back into a role like that. So then about a year and a half ago, this role became available, and I knew when I had left that I had some regret, because I knew that this was the next step. And one of the questions I know that we were kind of looking at was maybe looking back at my career, where would I give my younger self some advice? One would be being a little bit more patient, thinking things through, taking some time to really learn about the consequences of decisions that you make when you're younger, and not being impulsive or irrational just to make a change. So that's definitely something I would tell my younger self. But at the same time, not to fear change, because change is good. I think one thing that I've learned being with this company, my younger self, and now that I'm back, is that the best way to grow is to get out of your comfort zone, to learn things that you may not have learned in the past, to develop yourself. And that's probably, as frustrating as it may be at first, those are the things that really mold you for the long run. And I think that that's something I've definitely taken from my first experience working with Bank of America, and then back with Bank of America and Merrill because they give you the opportunity. You just have to, seize that opportunity to grow yourself. So I think that's huge and something that I would always pass along to someone looking to like evolve their career going forward.
No, that's really that's a really powerful story you just shared, right? Your journey with Bank of America and working while finishing your school and doing school at night and how that taught you just kind of develop a work ethic that you're still working on now. And you mentioned something really early on that I think is important, especially for young people to think about when companies working going forward. You mentioned you love the Bank of America brand, and would you mind explaining that a little bit more, going in more in depth of what you mean by a company's brand and how you can kind of brand yourself through the way that a company does their work?
Sure. Hang on one second. My
Nope.
screen just timed out. There you are. Sure. So I always like when I was really in high school, I looked at a lot of, where would I have my first bank account? And I thought, hey, there's these small local banks, there's these, big major players like Chase or Bank of America. And then I started to like, I always try to do my homework as much as I can, no matter what situation I'm in, just to
Okay.
prepare. I love the quote, when preparation meets opportunity. So you always want to be prepared.
Hmm.
So I looked at just like the simple thing of opening a bank account, and I looked at Bank of America and what it's involved with in not only like financials itself, but what they do in communities and nationwide. At the time, one other job that I had while I was in high school, it was only for a seasonal job during the holidays. I worked for Gap in the clothing stores,
Nice.
and they have a brand called the Red Brand that other companies like Apple, I think, uses. And those are things that they raise awareness for specific causes like disease or hunger or impoverished communities. So I always tried to affiliate myself with brands that were not only doing better, in the line of business that they're doing, but taking the next step to go outside of the community to help people that may not get the opportunities that I have or my neighbor has. But back to Bank of America, I always thought that they from early on really were proactive in getting their name out there, for sponsoring different events in the community or doing different things, like I said, not only nationwide but worldwide, to donations and just over the last year, like what they've done to try to help small businesses and they may they just announced they're donating for racial inequality to try to get that more streamlined going forward, where we don't have to talk about these types of topics. So I said, hey, this is a company that not only, hey, I like the logo. The logo is kind of cool. That caught my eye initially, but what they're out there doing every day made me want to be a part of it.
Nice. So making sure that the company fits with your personal values and what you see going on in the world, and then ways you can step in and find an opportunity and make sure you're prepared. And it kind of sounds like it was a perfect storm, right? And you found the
Yeah.
perfect place to make your home. So Matthew, that's some really, really impactful perspective and insight you just gave us. I want to thank you again from Junior Achievement. We say your time is one of the most valuable things you can give. So really do appreciate you taking the time and sharing some insight with us today. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks. Appreciate the time. It was a pleasure.